Hey guys, it's Christian here from Undique. Today I show you a little project I was working on. This is the hatching time Growout cage, which is also when there's different doors on it and heating elements on the side, then it's also a brooder cage, right? And I have now here some birds. The ones on top actually are now 6 weeks old, so they are ready to move on. And I have to move some over from the brooder, which are now 2 weeks old. And I have a little setup here, and I was working on some feeders. So they're made in the US, like the eggs are laid in the US, right? I made them myself, I designed it, and I was thinking, after I visited hatching time, they gave me great advice how to, put the fenders here in, that the birds can't get out. And it's working great for birds which are about 2 weeks old. However, when they are smaller, they do try to get through the cracks. And what I used to do is use my cage cards and kind of slip them in to block out those holes here. And I figured there must be a better way. It's not pretty. I don't like this the way these cage cards look like as well. So what I'm doing now is I 3D printed that, I designed that in a piece of software, and I did run already some test runs here. And what I want to do is I want to use them for the birds to kind of give them, if they're small, like from the age of 1 week, they can easily reach up here. I want to give them extra nutrition a little bit, right? I want to be able to block it out, and have just some extra feed. I mean, if you have a lot of birds in there, those feeders alone won't, feed them all. But I designed them to be non-waste, so I'm gonna run some tests now on that and see if they're really non-waste feeders, because that's the goal. Because the little dishes which come by default with the cages, with the brooder ones, they're great, but they can get messy. So these ones are a bit raised up from the floor, and I'm gonna make some detailed footage about them as well from the inside look when there's birds in there after I move them today, to show you how those works. But I show you now how I mount them. So I figured, okay, I could maybe design something here with a hook or things like that, but that would, be extra material in the process. So sometimes the simple things are the best. Zip ties, right? And the way I can mount it here on the growout cage is actually that I can easily move it if I need to open the door. But what I'm doing on the growout, I want to use them for mealworms right now, to give those birds a little extra protein and something to do, that they don't get bored too much. As you can see up here, those guys, they are pecking on anything around here, really. They try even to reach this little thingy dingy. Anything shiny is cool for them. Yeah, there's one coming for it. But anyway, let me show how to mount them, right? So I just, as you can see, maybe I go a bit further. I bring the camera in then a little bit. You just hold them up here, and there is these holes anyway for the door. So you kind of fiddle through the zip tie. Instead of taking one huge one, I decided to have 3 parts, so it kind of fits nice around the corners. Just open this one up, and let me bring you in a bit. Come on. So, whoopa! Now you get the full view how I mount that here. So, let's go down. Let's not drop the camera. Okay, that angle is weird. Okay, now as you zoomed in now, you see how I mount them. So maybe up here, I made that kind of modular. You can remove dividers by just cutting them out with a Stanley knife, or any kind of knife you might have on you. So I did decide on these ones. I cut it out here. So basically I cut an extra one out as well to see what's the flow for my specific feed. If it flows down nicely. I do run a lot of tests before I release any product to the public. So just a little something here on the insides, how I develop a product. And now I just go around with that zip tie. Actually, I made a mistake because I want that removable. You can make it fixed or removable. Let's do it removable, sorry. So I go in here by the yellow. Just stick the first part through. Go around and come out by the other yellow. So half the way done. Now I fiddle it all the way through. And that's it. Why did I decide for zip ties? Yeah, it's just easy. Everybody got them at home. And makes things flexible. It saves on production cost because, you know, if you print the extra thing here in front, a hook or something, it would be down here. Would be extra material. So I decided I want to keep it more affordable rather than fancy. So if they're empty, they are quite light, so it's a bit funny to fiddle them in place, but as you can see, it's pretty easy. Now let's take a closer look at them. If I go into maintenance mode, right, I open up the door. I just lift it a little bit up now. And so you can easily open the door, as you can see. Let's take an inside look. What do the boys and girls see here? They see that I haven't mounted it fully, so I'm gonna straighten that out here. So, lines up nice, as you can see here, right? That's where the food goes in. Actually, let me put in some food right now. As I'm gonna move those birds later anyway. So I made it also wide enough. I have like this big feeder thing. I have to be a little careful not to spill. As you can see, it's easy to fill. The food comes straight out here, but it's not like the food is flowing out like crazy. So with the angle here, I made it when the birds start pecking that it kind of rattles a bit. So this way more food is coming down. I'm gonna measure with the poop tray underneath there to see if it's really, as it should be, a non-waste feeder as well, right? And then if I slide it back in, I just make sure there is this little space in the middle. So I just have to put it in and then I lock it either from the outside or inside. Whoops, here we go. Adjust it and it looks great. That of course I can cut off, that it looks nice, maybe tighten a little bit more. Okay, that looks great. Let's take an inside look. Come with me. The light might be a bit different in there. Okay, so that's the bird's view, right? So, hi there. Hi birdie. So you see it's a bit lifted up from the floor. So the idea behind that is that the smaller birds don't get the idea to step on it and poop on it, but they should be still able to reach it. And I can leave it in there also for the adult birds then, right? For the layer cage, obviously you don't have those holes here, so this feeder is not suitable for layer cages with egg rollouts. But here for the growout cage, and as you can see, the sides here are pretty tight. So any bigger bird won't make it out here. I can barely put my pinky in here. So that was one of the reasons as well why I figured, okay, I can block it out here somehow, that they don't go through. And what I do on the ones where I actually don't put the birds in, let me show you. On in the poop trays and things like that, and the poop trays, you see? I already call it a poop tray because I see poop in there. The food trays, right? But they poop in there. With the feeders here, they don't do it. I want to have this middle one. This is where I have the water access because you need to adjust the water as the birds grow, and I put it in there. And actually the way I do it, I rotate the birds through from the top to the bottom. So this way I don't always have to adjust the water. I actually just move the birds by size. This way I can also cull if I'm not happy with a bird, how it looks. But yeah, so this part here is being blocked out then by the standard screen, as you can see here on top already. So that's the setup I already did. Again, the guys are here, stable, food. I have to measure how much food actually fits in there, how long it lasts, depending on how many birds you have. But anyway, so here it's blocked out, so you still have ample ventilation here on top as well. I can open it at any time, but the middle one I always want to keep free, and I might do on the right hand side here additional feeders. Maybe I do some with mealworms. I do maybe some for the little bit of grit in there. Yeah, well, and then normal food of course as well. So the birds should have it nice here. But the main purpose is, yeah, extra food in The test will show if we're gonna have food waste and how much, if they spill a lot or not. So I keep you posted about that. And I think it's just a simple solution to a small problem, because yeah, the small birds, they could make it out here somehow. I've seen that. With that, yeah, I can barely put my fingers through here, so hard for them to get out, the little birdies. And we hopefully save some on the food cost as well. So that's just a little update here. Have a good rest of your day.